day, everyone. I am D.L. Reese, or Devin Lee Reese. I am today's alternative voice in fantasy and other print media. And what? Why is that? Why is that uneven? There we go. It's better. All right. I am the author of the Siberia series, which is a science fiction series. The Planet, which is a fantasy series about a fascist planet, and sort of a diesel punk or something like that. 1940s mixed up technology with you know, the World War II kind of thing happening, but in a fictitious world. And probably most importantly, I'm probably the best neoclassicist painter in the world. I'm also a musician. I play the guitar, and I am the author of the longest book in the world, which is this, the Myriad, which is actually part of an even larger cycle of books called the MegaHelladika, which is basically my retelling of all the Greek myths. But the fact is I've made up my own stories and myths, so this is kind of like a fantasy book, and I think everybody will enjoy it. You can order yours from directly from me. Um, and I will print you a limited edition copy of any of these great books, especially Myriad, and you'll have hours of enjoying pleasure. So let's get to the main topic of this video. This is the first of my videos, and I'm going to be reviewing books on this video, but also art and music. Some of my own music and art, but also a lot of other people's. So the first book I'm going to do is um, Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin, and forgive the toilet paper. I read books in the bathroom and I just put toilet paper in them. Bookmark, and as you can see, I'm a compulsive bookmarker, and this is not my book, so sorry it's in such bad shape, but I picked this up for free or whatever. Not a very nice copy of the book, but if you ask me, I really don't think George R. R. Martin has very interesting cover illustrations, not compared to other people. It's usually just like the throne on there with nothing else, and I mean, there's no artist hired to do a painting or anything. Um, so I'm going to be reviewing not just this book, but the entire world that he's created, Westeros and Essos and all of that stuff, and the entire series of books that takes place in this world, which is probably his most well-known books. Martin is actually first known to me as a science fiction writer, and sometime I might talk about his science fiction another time, but he did that in the 70s, or not 1960s, but he was writing in the 1970s and 80s. He wrote science fiction, um, some of which I enjoyed a lot. I enjoyed Sand Kings, and I tried reading Windhaven with Lisa Tuttle, but never completely got into that. Might have to go back to that one. Anyway, so back to Song of Ice and Fire. Uh, I've seen the whole HBO series. I have not read all the books. I've studied the background lore extensively, the whole world. Um, what do I have to say about it? um, as a fantasy to me, it's like an 8 out of 10. I don't see why people think that it's amazing, but that's just me. Uh, it's I mean, his hallmark is that, in interviews he seems to say, uh, he thinks that, the battle for good and evil takes place in the human heart, and he wants to show that, and that I guess maybe not Tolkien, but he said that the Tolkien imitators were just like a bunch of good-looking guys versus the bad guys, and of course, older stuff had that. But I have to say that Tolkien is really about the same thing. I mean, Tolkien is about the battle of good and evil in the human heart. So I don't think he's significantly different than that. Just about the same concept. Just a little bit modern or more grittier of a telling. But I mean, he said that I Claudius was a big inspiration, and I believe it. He said that Stannis Baratheon was inspired by Tiberius, specifically in the I Claudius version, because I mean we have no information on the actual Tiberius, um, so I believe that. It was okay. It was okay. Uh, I I actually find his to be I mean the one thing that one major thing that doesn't connect, and it'll need a longer video to sort of review his lore, but one thing that doesn't really do it for me is the prose. The prose is very modern writing, and for me I like the classics, and I like the Tolkien style more. I never say he was perfect, but I like it more. I'm a fan of the classic writing. So to me, this is a little bit dry of a read. Doesn't capture my attention. It's like reading, might as well be reading a newspaper article. I mean, I don't understand why people think a fantasy should be written like that. I really don't get it. I mean, I suppose more people who are not as well read will like it, but I don't know. I think the words of a book should have a magic in it, the same way that what you're talking about. To write this in a plain style just doesn't make any sense to me. But that's my review of this, and next time we will be doing Jean Auel's The Land of the Painted Caves, which, as you may know, is the Clan of the Cave Bear series. So until next time, take care. Have a nice mug of coffee with your cat on it. And we'll see you next time.